Hello and welcome student in this new chapter of mechanical properties of the fluid. So today we will be starting our first lecture of the mechanical properties of the fluid. So students, in this chapter we are going to learn about the fluid, its a definition, different cases of fluid and the mechanical properties which will demonstrate over the fluid while the fluid is flowing from one point to other, and what are the different cases we will see in this. So students, first of all we will see the definition of fluid. So the fluid is nothing but the mixture of liquid and gases is nothing but the fluid. In other words, we can say that the fluid is the substance which can flow. Fluid is the substance which can flow from the one point to the other point. That is nothing but the fluid. So that is the other definition of the fluid. But as far as the perfect definition is concerned, it is nothing but the mixture of liquid and gases is called as fluid. Now students, in this chapter we are going to learn about the fluid, its properties. So we will see now. And one of the most important property of the fluid is that the fluids are substance which cannot resist any shear force applied over them. Means fluid is the substance which do not resist to the shear force. For example, air, water, flour dough and toothpaste are the few examples that we can say that these are the fluid, and which one of the best example of the fluid you can understand with is the lava, means molten lava. So that is nothing but the one of the mixture of that liquid and the solid, or you can say the gases. So that is nothing but the fluid, and this is the one of the example of the fluid. Now students, we can say that this is the fluid. With the help of this example we can understand what is mean by fluid. Now students, we will take into consideration the ideal fluid and we will discuss about the properties of ideal fluids. Now students, we will discuss the properties of the ideal fluid. Now the first property of the ideal fluid is it is incompressible, its density is constant. So this is the first property of the ideal fluid, means the fluid, the ideal fluid should not be get compressed. I mean it is incompressible and its density is constant, means that specific amount of value of the density of that ideal fluid is remains constant. And the second one property is its flow is irrotational, means once the fluid has followed the path, it will not be come back again, means it will not be bring back again rotationally, means the cyclic. So this is the second property, its flow is irrotational and its flow is smooth, means there will be the minimum friction between the surface over which the fluid is flowing and the fluid. So its flow is smooth and there is no turbulence in the flow. Means students, there will be less friction and there will be no turbulence in the flow of that ideal fluid over the surface on which it is flowing. So this is the second property. Now third one is it is non-viscous. This is no internal friction in the flow. Non-viscous means students, there will be no internal friction in the flow, means two types of friction we can consider here: the friction between the fluid and the surface, and the friction inside the fluid between the molecules of that, between the same molecules of that same fluid. So these are the two friction. So we are going to think about the second type of friction, that is friction between the intermolecules of that fluid. So it should be low, means there should be no internal friction in the flow. So as far as example is concerned, the fluid has no viscosity, means there will be no viscosity will be there, or there should be the very low negligible viscosity for that ideal fluid. Now the last and fourth one property is its flow is steady. Its velocity at each point is constant in time, means students, its flow is steady, means the velocity with which the fluid is flowing over the surface should be steady. It should not be changed with respect to the time. So this is the fourth property, that is it should be, the flow should be steady. The flow of that ideal fluid should be steady, and its velocity at each point should be constant, should not be changing with respect to the time. So now students, we will revise all the four properties one by one. Now the first one property of that ideal fluid is it is incompressible, its density is constant. Second one, its flow is irrotational, its flow is smooth, means there should not be more friction between the surface and the liquid or surface and that fluid. Now third one is it is non-viscous, means the internal friction in between the molecules of the fluid should be very negligible, or it should be, there should not be viscosity between that intermolecular friction bit of that fluid. And the fourth one is the flow should be steady, means that flow should not be changed with respect to the time, and that flow should be steady. So these are the four properties of the ideal fluid that we have discussed. Now we will see the next part of the chapter. Now students, we will find out the difference between the solid and the fluid. Now solids can be subjected to shear stress, as you can see in the figure. If the solid is stretched or tends to subject for the tangential stress, then it can be subjected to a shear stress, as you can see. Now you can see in the diagram that it is normal stress as shown in the figure. Now students, you can consider the ABCD is one of the solid object which has been subjected to the shear stress. Now what will happen if you apply the shear stress from the point C? Then there will the new points will form after the application of the shear stress. So point A, B, C, D will become A, B, C dash and D dash will be the two new points, as we have applied the shear stress over that object, means over this solid object. Now student, this is the one of the characteristics that we can differ the solid and the fluid from the each other. Now students, you can see the angle is the theta from which the new plane that after the application of the shear stress has been created, and it is displaced with the angle of theta. So from this we can say that the solid opposes the shear stress either by developing a restoring force, which means that the deformation are reversible, or they require a certain initial stress before they deform and start flowing. So this is the one of the characteristics of the solids when we apply the shear stress over the solids. Now student, as far as the ideal fluid is concerned, if you apply the shear stress over the ideal fluid, it can only subject it to normal compressive stress, means that is the only possibility which can apply the force over that ideal fluids. So students, as you can say, this is the diagram for the tensile stress which we can apply over the fluid. So this is one of the possibility or which we can apply the force over the fluid. So students, we can see you can say that the fluid can be only subjected to the normal and compressive stress. Now student, most of the fluids are weak resistance to the deformation, but the real fluid can show the viscosity, and so it is capable to being subjected to low level of shear stress, as we can directed by the diagram. So you can see in the diagram that this diagram shows that the small surface of the area dA, means this is the small surface of area dA, and rest within the fluid, means this is the area which deals with the fluid. Now the surface does not accelerate, means the surface over which the fluid is lying, the surface is not accelerated for the further movement. So the surrounding fluid exert the equal and the normal force dF on the both side of it, means as there is no surface acceleration, means there is no fluid is tend to move here and there, means at any side. So the net force which will be balance that fluid from the all the sides will be the dF. So students, from this we can say that the properties of fluid we will see in short now. So students, from this we can say the properties of fluid as the first one is they do not oppose the deformation, they get permanently deformed. Means this is the first property which say that they do not oppose deformation. Means the liquid surface will not deform for the oppose for the deformation, but they will get deformed permanently. And the second property is they have ability to flow. Means the fluid is having ability to flow as it contains the maximum major part as the liquid. And the third properties of the fluid is they have ability to take the shape of the container. Means this is the normal and this is the general property of the fluid. We can consider that if you pour the water inside the glass, then it will occupy the shape of that glass. If you pour the fluid into the any shaped object, then it will occupy the shape of that particular object. So students, these are the three properties of the fluids, three major properties. Now students, we will take eye on that three properties again. First one is they do not oppose the deformation, they get permanently deformed. This is the first property. Second one is they have the ability to flow. Means as we know that the fluid has capability to flow with the high instance. Now the third one is they have ability to take the shape of the container. Means the fluid will occupy the shape in which it will be get poured. So these are the three properties of the fluids that we have discussed. And the next one important statement, we can say that a fluid exhibit these properties because it cannot oppose a shear stress when it is in static equilibrium. So this is the main reason that the fluid possesses these three properties. Now students, we will see that the hydrostatics. What mean by the hydrostatics? The branch of physics which deals with the properties of fluid at rest is called as a hydrostatics. Means the branch of physics which deals with the properties of fluid at rest. There the study of the fluid when the fluid is at rest position or at rest phase, then we can call it as a hydrostatics. Now students, we will see the pressure now. A fluid at rest exert a force on the surface of contact. Means suppose you have poured the water over the table, then that liquid, that fluid will apply the force over the surface of the table over which it is lying. Now the surface may be wall or bottom of a container of the fluid. Now the normal force, which means that the force which has been applied by that fluid over that surface will be given as fluid at rest per unit surface area. So this force we can given as the pressure is equal to force upon area. The force over that surface per unit area will be the pressure. Now student, this is the diagram that we can say that the fluid exerting a normal force on the vertical surface. And students, you can see the second diagram which shows the fluid exerting normal force on the horizontal surface. Means in the first diagram you can say that the fluid has applied the normal force on a vertical plane and the normal force over the horizontal plane. So these are the two cases that we have to study here. Now student, thus an object having a small weight can exert high pressure if the weight acts on the small surface area. For example, you can take a force of 10 Newton acting on a 1 centimeter square. It results a pressure of 10⁵ Newton meter square. Now student, you can say that on the other hand, the same force of 10 Newton while the acting on the area of 1 meter square exert a pressure of 10 Newton meter square. So this is the difference between the forces and the forces which has been applied by the fluid over the area. How the area matters while the application of force of that fluid over that surface. The SI unit of pressure is Newton per meter square. Now it can be also given as 1 Newton per meter square will be is equal to 1 Pascal, and which will be denoted by the PA, the symbol PA. 1 Pascal will be denoted by the symbol PA, and the dimensions of the pressure is length raised to -1 m raised to 1 and the T raised to -2. So this is, we can say student, the pressure is a scalar quantity. The common unit of measuring pressure of the gas is bar and the torr. So these are the common units. Now 1 bar is equal to 10 raised to 5 Newton per meter square or Newton meter raised to -2. Now 1 hectopascal is 100 pascal. So this is the units, this is the convergence of Newton and bar, means the scales for the pascal. Now students, the next part of this chapter we will see in the next video. Thank you so much.